Hello all, Matthew Bodie here, hoping you are safe and well wherever you are in the world. I'm here to share with you a brand new catalogue which has just been added to Family Search, and that is records of voters for Rhodesia 1938 through 1973. This is a collection particularly that I'm very excited about because there are members of both my mother's and my father's families who settled in Zimbabwe, what is now Zimbabwe, what was then southern Rhodesia. And as you'll see from later on in this video, these records are extremely genealogically rich. Essentially, the gamut of this collection encompasses the entire European population of southern Rhodesia. Now, oftentimes catalogues for southern Rhodesia are grouped alphabetically by locality. However, in this case, it's much more straightforward. Because this collection is arranged alphabetically by surname. So long as you know your relative's surname, you should be able to find them in this collection. So let's take a deep dive. I've got an example lined up here for my great-grandmother's stepbrother, Willem Johannes Goosen. So around 3 or 4 years ago, I was fortunate enough to trace a living half-sibling of my great-grandmother's. And this half-sibling also happened to be a half-sibling of Willem's. Now, from conversations with this aunt, I was able to glean the basic facts of Willem's life, such as the fact that he passed away in southern Rhodesia, and that he and his wife Anne Dorfling had moved there in the early 1960s for work. Now, this is all well and good. However, my aunt wasn't able to impart much about Willem's life in Rhodesia, and this is where this new record set can help bridge the gap. It's a wonderful collection for adding context to the lives of our ancestors and relatives who lived in southern Rhodesia. So let's go and try and locate Willem's voter records and see what they're able to tell us about his life there. So in order to do so, go to titles and type in Rhodesia voters, and the relevant catalogue should populate automatically. And once it does, just click on it. Now, as mentioned earlier, these films are arranged alphabetically by surname, so it's pretty straightforward to find your relative's voter record so long as you know their surname. So let's go and scroll down and try and find Goosen. So we're looking for the letter G. Alright, so as you can see here, this film covers the surnames Goldthorpe through Goosen and Goosen Z. Alright. So, Z refers to the first name, and the surnames are listed here. So, let's click on the camera icon here and see if we can find Willem's voter records. Now, obviously, we know from the title of the catalogue that it starts on the surname Goldthorpe. And from this front page here, we can see that it indeed does start on Goldthorpe. It should be noted that voter records, each individual in these collections has a few pages, which is great for us genealogists, the more the better. Goosen's towards the end of the film because we know it ends on that surname, so let's go about 2,000 images in and see where that takes us. And let's try and find a front cover for someone around this section of the film. So, we are indeed at the surname Goosen already. However, we're looking for the first name W, so we need to go further in. Sorry, for a first name that starts with W, the letter W. So let's go a few more images in, see if we can find Willem anywhere. So we are at Willem Goosen, but his middle name was Johannes, so we need to go a bit further in. And here we have it, Willem Johannes Goosen, residing at Brading Crescent in Gatuma. A bricklayer, yes, that I knew from speaking with my aunt. And the date of birth matches, as does the place of birth, so we know we have the right chap here. And now let's go through his voter records. So this is just the front cover, gives some basic information. It should be noted that this voter registration was filed in 1966, which aligns with the information that my aunt told me, that he moved here in the 1960s. So he didn't waste any time registering to vote. Right, this looks like nothing really of use to us genealogists, so let's go to the next page. Alright, so here's where the great detail starts. So you get the individual's surname, name, their residential address. If we go to the next page, how long they've resided at that address, how long have they lived in the Federation, referring to Southern Rhodesia, occupation, date and place of birth, race, fluency in English, and next page, income, some of these questions are for females only. And now, isn't this fantastic information? This information I would never have known had I not found these records. Education. So he was at Grahamstown Primary School up until Standard 5. And he must have been apprenticed shortly thereafter. And I think that's about it. So as you can see, there's a lot to work with here. It should be noted that this is a relatively recent photo registration. As noted in the title of the catalogue, they start from about 1938. And in some of those earlier voter registrations from the late 30s until about the late 40s, early 50s, there's actually a page which includes the date and place of birth of the applicant's father. And just a case in my own family, I had a case where one of my great-great-grandmother's brother's dates of birth I could not trace for the life of me, and I had no way of tracing it because I wasn't able to trace any living descendants on that branch as yet. But thankfully I was able to find one of his daughters in these photo registrations, and as it happened, this daughter had listed her father's precise date of birth. And now this is one of those frustrating cases where he was the only one of a set of, I think, 12 or 13 siblings whose date of birth I was missing. So it was the last piece of the puzzle for that particular family. So that was fantastic information to trace. So definitely, if you had relatives who lived in Rhodesia during this time frame, I would advise consulting this catalogue. You will not be disappointed. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you have a great one. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.